153 Mac. We have a piston well on its way, and a few other goodies for it. We found out a whole bunch of things about what fits and what don't. We've reduced our squish a long ways just on where the top of the piston lands in relationship to the wristband, and found that a 66 Magnum steel 54 millimeter piston can be made to go in this saw. It can. And we're going to save a crap load of weight. I mean, crap load. What I'll do is get the gram scale out, and we'll weigh each piston and see exactly how much we saved. Just grams means pounds of weight saved when the piston travels back and two every time it changes direction. Okay, now what I've been working on today is the scariest part of this whole project. These work different. These really do. Obviously, that's the flywheel side of the crank. Clutch side. I cleaned this up just enough to work on it. I don't worry about the real dirt because you have to, when you get done porting, you really have to do a lot. But I'm going to tell you, I've got the exhaust roughed in. And I'm either going to impress you or I'm going to scare the crap out of you. And I'm sure I'm going to get from somebody that's not going to work. Well, it might not. But this is what we're here for. We're wanting to learn, aren't we? Okay, so let me see if I can get a good view by laying the right objects in the right places. Maybe there, huh? That's the exhaust port. Bring it a little closer. There's two bridges in there that are gone. Okay, if you look on the extreme left and extreme right side, you'll see that Mac doesn't have it near as big on the inside as it is the outside. See them two little pieces in there on the left and right? Obviously this is upside down. D shape on the roof, which is the bottom of the cylinder as you see it, is a roof, D-shaped. Okay, now here's the neat thing. Yeah, I know, we're going to hang a ring. See them two bumps? What that is the post that's left over from the bottom of the pieces that they had in there. It's almost scary. Now what I do is I take them two bumps, and on the inside I take a file or a Dremel or whatever, and I taper them to help encourage the ring, if it so chooses, to want to come to the exhaust hole and suck a ring. We don't want that. That's a bad deal when it happens. I've done this before and it's worked. The D shape actually saves me on the saw on the top. It encourages it slowly. Well, it's fast, but it does encourage it. Now they have plugs, which in these three holes, which you see I took out on the transfer on that side. And I want to share this with you because this is really interesting to me. If I can do this, I had to practice this a bit so you could see them. See the transfers. Yeah, you see the divider? They're a nice big transfer. See them little holes in the bottom? That's got them all the way around the cylinder. 3 of them aren't used, and 6 of them are. Okay, so it has a rather interesting transfer layout. It really does. There you can see them pretty good right there. My timing is way off. If you see the relationship to where that exhaust is, to where them transfers opening, those of you that build will say, well, that's a mile. Yeah, it is. Now let me show you the other side. I can do that right there. Okay. The other side is where the intake goes. See them 3 holes there? Got one there, and one there. The air This is reeds. Got to remember that. The reeds open, air, when the piston's going up, the reeds open, the air goes in the bottom of the saw right here. When the piston changes directions, when them transfers open, the minute it changes the direction, the reeds close. And then when them transfers open here, the same as on the other side you just seen, it starts forcing air up and on top of the piston. Now they are angled opposite of the exhaust, which is right here. Yeah, I know, that's pretty big. I had to go, let's get a new word, a crap ton, to get numbers that I thought would be valid in today's world out of this old 1963 Mac. If you would have seen how much I removed, you would have been just amazed. Did it scare me? Oh, crap. It almost made me a drinking man to do it. So, if we're going to have a problem with the saw, it's going to be right here. Like I said, I've got away with it before. Doesn't mean you're always gonna. You got to walk before you can run some days. There's a few of these around, so hopefully I don't scrap this cylinder violently. It can happen. Okay, now the reason I knocked them plugs out is because I can get in there and I can alter my transfer timing. I need to raise that to match what I'm change that I made on my base gasket delete, plus the different deck height of the piston. I have to raise them. I'm not sharing numbers yet. I will tell you it's more modern saw numbers, which are really scary. Now, the one thing they did is, and you can't see this, I tried to find an angle, but you can't see it. They have a shelf on the inside of the, maybe I can get it this way. Down in them transfers at the bottom, instead of just curving in, there's this round hollow shelf that drops. So what I'm going to do is fill that on this side. And I can go in there, alter my timing right from the outside. Same thing with this. These transfer holes right here, I can raise them right here. You can see right through that, can't you? Yeah, it's going to be a blow-through air pump. We're not using this. I don't want that. What we're going to do is make the reeds work. That's what I want. I've got some good things in mind. Let's just see if all of them work out. I'll share the failures, what I would have done different next time, and I will be doing another one of these. Now, what I'm trying to find is a 151. That's got a removable head. If I had that, that would save a whole lot of grief, and I'll tell you why. Because right in the bottom of this head, it has a real wide squish band. See that? Let me get it where you can. You can kind of, if I can get things angled just right, it's like half an egg, real sharp around that squish band. I got to taper that out. That's not going to work. That was old school thinking. You can't have a sharp edge right there. It leads to the spark knock, detonation. And the more compression you get, which we're getting a crap load, the more you're going to have of detonation. In 1963, they didn't understand what they do in today's world. That's a long time away. So we're going to break that edge, and we're going to taper that around. Well, yeah, we're going to lose compression there. I don't care. The gains are in a better fire. That's what we're getting. We're getting a better fire every time. So, yeah, this is scary. But I wanted to share this with you. I wanted to show you every step of the way of what we run into. We got bearings, we got seals, we got the majority of the gaskets. Hilarious gaskets that I didn't have. Thank you. Appreciate you sending them to me. You know who you are. My gaskets are savable. So what I'm doing first is I'm going to use on all these new gaskets for this particular saw, plus my old ones that are good that I'm going to use. I'm going to use some machinist layout fluid. I'm using red, and what I'll do is I'll actually paint the backside of the gasket and real quick lay it on gasket material that I've chosen to duplicate these. So what I want to do is make new gaskets, save my old ones for templates. Wouldn't that be smart? Yes. And maybe I can repop some of these gaskets. It's harder than heck to get by doing that. UPS came today. I'm really kind of happy. I want to show you something. You know where we're at with this. This is going to be a long, drawn-out affair. This really is worth doing and worth watching. Because if you watch this initially and see what I'm thinking and what I'm planning, you're going to make your own opinions. You're not hurting my feelings if you say, well, I wouldn't have done that. Well, no, you ain't me. Probably better off if you ain't. Because this is the way you break things. This is the way you have bad things happen. But you never get anywhere learning either. And I'm just shy of 60. Coming over the hump. In January 7th, I'll be 60. But today, I'm 16. Yes. Look at this. This is a long-awaited item. Now, you know we're doing that crazy internal supercharger 372 build, and you guys have watched that video and are excited. I've got just a couple 372s that I could have done anything with, but they're getting hard to get. So I'll tell you what I did. I'm not going to wreck something decent. I picked up the phone, says, hello, China. They're not actually China. Yeah, they are. The Chinese lie. I got a 372 kit right in a box. If any of the parts that I'm going to throw away, if you guys want them, you can have them. That, I don't even have to open it, but I ain't using that. Let's see what it is. Cylinder, got a couple gaskets in there, which we won't use. Let's just see. I haven't used one of these kits in 3 years, 2 years. I want to see if they've actually got better. I'll tell you what, I'll take this bench right off. I'll take this bench right off this box. Let's do it this way. Let's give this thing a review and see exactly. Boy, I go through a lot of these. I actually use Bounty. I learned that painting cars. Used to do that. Well, I can tell you one thing. Cast iron rings, that's not all bad. That's not. I'll admit one thing. That piston looks way better than they used to. I'll tell you that for a fact. It sure does. This will tell me. The piston's harder than they used to be. The plating in the cylinder looks good. The transfers are much better than they used to be. I don't know if I could tell how thin that plating is, though. I could if I ground on it. That's fairly thick plating. I'm a little surprised. Still got them little dimples down there just on the inside of the squish band, I can tell you that. But, you know, that ain't a bad looking old cylinder, is it? You know what we might do? We might try one of these. We just might. They are different. Maybe they're getting better. Maybe if we cut these little ears off, like we do the other pistons, get rid of all them sharp points. I don't like stress risers. Bill don't like them either, do you? Mr. Bill Block, him and I was talking about that this morning on WhatsApp. Stress risers kill. But it's not that shiny stuff. See, it's got a dark color where it's not machined. It used to be real shiny, and you need that light off. It used to be real shiny. It's darker colored now. And I'll tell you what that means. It's got more copper in it. Right about 30% copper makes pretty strong aluminum. A lot of you guys didn't know that, did you? I learned that from a old World War II vet owned a machine shop, fab shop, and I worked in the fab shop and done some machining for him. He taught me a lot about metallurgy that I didn't know. So, we like a cylinder. Let's see the color of the plastic. Looks right. It used to be a funky pumpkin color. I haven't actually never had a complaint about their plastic before in the past. And I'll tell you why. Is that there's my flywheel. Whether I run that or not is debatable. Small parts package. Short air filter. We're going to run that. Air filter. Let's look at our cases. That's what I'm interested in. What's this? Polaris? Where's that? Polaris, China? You know Polaris didn't make that. High quality spare part, Italy. You think that's really Italy? Or is that Italy, China? Home of Polaris. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't even care. I want something, if I wreck a case or blow it up, it's not going to bother me. We're putting a good crank in it. I'll tell you what I'm using is I'm using one of them NWP cranks. I've used a few of them with, so far, knock on wood, they better get it. They've been good to me. Coil, I might give that coil a go. Okay, let's see what this looks like. I'm going to go into this with that crank. SKF bearings. Wow, the bearings feel better. They really do. Wonder if we ought to give these Chinese bearings a try again. I've actually have run them in the past, and they worked. They worked. I understood a lot of Chinese bearings actually come from Russia, or under Russia control. I don't know that for sure. You'd have to pop the seals to find out. The seal feels the right stiffness. It's not soft like they used to be. And it's not brittle hard. The machining on the top of the case is, you can't see it here, but there's a little corrosion, which I'm not too concerned about on that. It looks good. I know the one thing, the last ones I used, all the bolts went in and I could use OEM parts. No problem. I think we got a winner here. But it's just, for me, guys, it was just way better knowing what we're doing and that we just might scrap one or two of these saws. I just didn't want to take a risk on going on something good. I really didn't. This made sense to me. I know there's some of you against these. But you know what? When you have to spend $900 or $1,000 in some places for a really, really nice 372 XP, and the price of these things, if they work, run them. I'm the first guy to say buy American, but when you look at there's no saws made in the U.S., we go for the Austria and German saws. That's what we do. So let's just go south and get a Chinese one. I know this is embarrassing. I'll tell you what I've had a problem with in the past on these, and I built 2 or 3 of these, and I've got 2 of them that I built 3 years ago, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, out there in loggers' hands, that I said try it, test it, by replacing the crank and the bearings and the seals and doing the necessary internal stuff. And I told them things are going to happen, things are going to break, just bring it back, we'll put OEM in it. Well, we ended up doing a clutch on one, the other one we ended up with ignition, and of course that ignition failed right away. Found out what he was doing, cutting in the winter. Saw it's hotter than heck, tripped and fall on the friggin' snowbank, and that cold snow come right in that friggin' starter cover and it'd fry them ignitions. It chill down too quick. It's the only thing we could figure. The tank don't feel, the handle don't feel as blocky as they used to. They used to feel, it's a better feeling trigger. Just like all of them. This little tube right here, the sheath, if that's out of that, when you put that together, you'll have a stroke getting that back in. You always make sure that's back in when you put the tank. I tell you what, I have liked their springs since the beginning. The spring mounts. I really have. We might just have a winner here. Let's see how chintzy this feels. Starter covers. I wouldn't run them. I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. Old Dave, high compression, big bore, 100cc, 99, you know. Tell you, first thing I did is I put one of these Hulse former starters on and didn't even change the rope in it. I wanted to just see. Now, I don't have lots of time on it, but enough. Got a decent looking rope. Seems to be a lot of tension there. We're going to find out. Let's find out. This is going to be an interesting build, I can tell you that. Now, as doing this build, what we're doing, I have a crank in machine shop being machined whenever they get around to it. I think I'm going to just send them a whole box around to it. I have another crank. We're gonna prove part of the ideas first. We're probably gonna have this saw apart a few times. We'll probably also find out where they blow up at, because some of the stuff may or may not work. Some of it I guarantee you will. Now these handles are always nice and weak. You know what? That actually might be stronger. We'll give it a try. We got more handles if it ain't. What do you think of that? I've had luck with their ignitions. Their ignitions are cheap. Buy 2 or 3. One of them's going to last a long time. One's going to fail. The one's going to sit on the shelf. That's the way it's going to work. Value added. What's the price of admission? Oh, if I was logging full time, I need to depend on a saw. This thing would be in the trash. I'd have it in a dumpster. I wouldn't want that. I'd have a legit no bull crap freaking saw in my hands I can depend on. I really would. The cylinder looks better. I gotta admit that. We might just try one on a saw here. Now, by just throwing things back in the box, this big box was in there. But here's what's happening. I plan on, maybe in the morning, putting this bottom end together. If you want to see that in a video, I'll share it with you. We'll go ahead and film it. If you already know how to put them together, then great. That's a good one on you. Stay tuned for this. And middle of next week, you're going to see this. Early next week, you're going to see the 66 Blue Thunder. We're going to be putting that back together. We've got Kyle's 372 with a perfect OEM cylinder. We ordered an OEM piston to put in that. That's supposed to be coming Monday or Tuesday. So we got a lot of things happening all at once. And so this is good. This is what we want. Some of you have been reaching out. You know, if you change your mind about doing saws for other people, I got to get to know you. But late fall earliest. There's just a couple of you I've agreed that yeah, we'll talk about that September, October, whatever, and we will. Let's see where I'm at with personal projects. I've got a bunch of my own saws I haven't fixed. I want to get them done. I want to take once in a while a saw, just once in a while. That's all I want to do. I don't want to get wrapped right up in this. I want to do some that are nice examples. I don't care if it's a wreck and it's a basket case. It's a nice example to build because we haven't built it on a channel before. I like 70cc on up. We might get into some 50cc's. There's some good strong ones out there that are really interesting. We have an older Echo here that we might get into that. It's sitting up here behind me on the bench. I'll show you. I'll show you. This might be a good candidate. It's a nice saw. And this darn thing's lights all get out. You can darn it. Well, you can. Well, I could cut with it one-handed if I set it on the log. It's got a 325 chain on it. It's a 330 EVL. Eric Nelson brought this by. It's supposed to be a special surprise to somebody. Ain't it, Eric? So, maybe we'll get that in there. I assume that what we're going to be doing with that one is cleaning the carb. Make sure the plug's good gas in it, and I'll bet you that thing lights up. Now, you know what happens sometimes? If you don't give a crap, you just throw some gas in it, rinse the tank out, throw some more in. A little bit of gas down the carb and pull that cord. Sometimes they light right up. Okay, you seen the crazy things what we're doing to this exhaust. And yeah, that's big mouth, ain't it? You gotta get it out if you want to get it in. And believe me, with 6 ports delivering air fuel mixture off of reeds out of the case, we're getting plenty of air. The only thing I have to do is correct numbers. McCullough has always been pretty good about the numbers on their transfers. The only thing that I have been concerned with is they use too many ribs sometimes entering them transfers, and I cut part of them right off. Just boom, do it. I know some of you guys don't like seeing what I do to transfers. If you would run that saw after I've done transfer work only, you'll see what the difference is. And we have done that. We've done the intake and exhaust numbers, run it a while, pulled it back apart, checked things over, and went hog wild in them transfers. On the lower transfers, not the transfer opening into the cylinder. I'm pretty stingy with that. I want velocity there, but I want airflow coming up in, get choked down, get that garden hose effect, and it dumps at the right angle right over top of the piston, going above the exhaust roof, or in the case of this saw here, opposite of the exhaust. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.